You ask AI the same question 3 times, word for word, identical prompt. 3 completely different responses. What's going on? Is the AI malfunctioning? Today we're solving this mystery and giving you control over it. So here's what confuses people. The same prompt, dramatically different responses, different approaches, different examples, different structures. And this isn't a bug. AI systems are deliberately designed to vary their responses. But before you can control it, you need to understand why it happens. Most people assume the AI is thinking differently each time, reconsidering the problem from different angles, or they assume it's being random on purpose to seem smarter. Both of them are wrong. Remember video 1? AI isn't thinking at all. It's pattern completion. Same process every time. And there's no hidden agenda. AI doesn't have goals. The real answer is simple. A single parameter called temperature. Temperature is a dial controlling how much randomness AI introduces when selecting words. Think of it as a spectrum from completely predictable to wildly creative. Low temperature, AI locks into the most obvious choices. High temperature, AI explores unusual options. Here's the critical distinction. Temperature doesn't change what AI knows. It only changes how AI selects from what it already knows. You're not making AI smarter or dumber, you're changing its selection strategy. When AI generates text, it calculates probabilities for thousands of possible next words. Maybe the has 40% probability, a has 25%, this has 10%, and so on. Temperature determines which possibility gets selected, and this happens at every single word. Each choice influences probabilities for the next word. If AI picks the instead of the distribution for word 2 shifts. Different words become more or less likely. This happens hundreds of times per response. That's why you get variation, not because AI is thinking differently, but because temperature influences which branch it takes through probability space at each step. At temperature 0, the probability distribution becomes a spike. The highest probability word gets essentially 100% selection chance. Everything else drops to nearly 0. The result? AI becomes completely deterministic. Same input, same output, every time, no variation. It always picks the single most likely next word. Over an entire response, that means walking the most well-worn path through training data. The safest, most conventional, most predictable response possible. At temperature 1.0, the probability distribution spreads out. The most likely word still has the highest probability, but second choice, third choice, fourth choice all have reasonable chances. This respects the original probability distribution from training. AI isn't favoring safety or exploration, it's using patterns as learned. The result? A natural variation. Responses feel conversational and human like without going off the rails. This is the default for most AI applications because it balances consistency and variety. Now, at very high temperatures, the distribution flattens dramatically. Words that normally have 1% probability get treated almost the same as words with 20% probability. AI is suddenly willing to explore highly unlikely options. Weird, unexpected, unusual word choices become viable candidates. Sometimes this produces creative brilliance, unusual combinations human writers wouldn't think of, unexpected metaphors, novel approaches. But just as often, it produces nonsense. Not every low probability word choice is creatively brilliant. Some are just wrong. Every word choice is a crossroads. At low temperature, AI is like a GPS routing you to the main highway. It's reliable, it's efficient, it's predictable. It's the same route every time. At high temperature, AI is like an adventurous road trip exploring scenic back roads and unmarked trails. It's unpredictable, exciting, potentially rewarding, but you might get lost or end up somewhere completely unintended. Temperature determines how willing AI is to take the less traveled path. And this is happening at every single word. Small variations compound into dramatically different responses. Say AI is generating a sentence. First word, temperature influences whether it picks the, or this. Say it picks the. Word 2, based on the, AI considers quick, fast, speedy. Say it picks quick. Word 3, the context is now the quick, which creates a different probability distribution than if we'd started with a fast. By word 100 or 200, the cumulative effect of these tiny variations creates a completely different response path. Same starting point, different trajectory, dramatically different destination. Here's a critical misconception to clear up. Temperature is not a quality dial. Higher temperature doesn't make AI smarter. Lower temperature doesn't make AI worse. What temperature changes is selection behavior, not capability. Cranking up temperature doesn't unlock hidden intelligence. It just makes word selection more random. Reducing temperature doesn't limit AI's knowledge. It just constrains it to high probability responses. The model's fundamental capabilities, what it learned during training, how many parameters it has, its architecture, those determine what it can do. Temperature just dials the randomness up or down during generation. It's selection strategy, not intelligence level. So when do you actually want each setting? Let's get practical. Use low temperature when accuracy matters more than creativity. Factual questions where there's one right answer. Code generation where one wrong character breaks everything. Math and logic problems, medical advice, legal documents, anything where consistency is critical. The rule? If there's objectively correct information, eliminate randomness. Use medium temperature for most everyday tasks. General conversation, business writing, blog posts, emails, content that needs to be engaging but reliable. Brainstorming where you want variety without chaos. This is the balance default that works for about 80% of use cases. And high temperature is for when you explicitly need creative exploration. Fiction writing where unexpected plot twists are valuable. Poetry and artistic content where unusual combinations might be brilliant. Radical brainstorming where you want to break out of conventional patterns. But be warned, high temperature produces a lot of garbage alongside the gems. You'll need to generate multiple outputs and cherry pick the good stuff. Here's a key insight. This is always a trade-off. Predictability versus creativity, consistency versus exploration, main road versus scenic route. There's no universal best temperature, only the right temperature for what you're trying to accomplish. Match the setting to your needs, not some imagined ideal. Temperature doesn't exist in isolation. It connects to everything we've covered in the series. Temperature adjusts which pattern gets selected from the possibilities AI learned during training. That's pattern completion from video 1. Your prompt creates the context. Temperature decides how strictly AI follows the most obvious path. That's prompting from video 5. And temperature is just one of several parameters controlling AI behavior. We covered what parameters are in video 13. Everything builds on the foundation we've been establishing across these videos. And just as important as knowing what temperature does is knowing what it doesn't fix. Temperature doesn't prevent hallucinations. Low temperature makes hallucinations more consistent, but not less frequent. That's from video 3. It doesn't expand context windows or create memory from video 2. It doesn't give AI knowledge it doesn't have or enhance its reasoning ability. That's from video 12. Temperature is about selection behavior, not fundamental capabilities. It's a knob for tuning randomness, not intelligence. So here's your decision tree for choosing temperature. Start here. Is accuracy critical? Is there one objectively correct answer? If yes, go low temperature. If no, ask, is creativity critical? Do you need novel, boundary-pushing content? If yes, go high temperature. If neither accuracy nor creativity is critical, use medium temperature. This simple framework covers about 95% of use cases. Here are 3 things to remember. First, temperature controls selection. AI predicts probabilities. Temperature determines which threshold it uses to make the final choice. Second, higher doesn't equal more intelligent. Temperature adjusts randomness, not capability. It changes behavior, not knowledge. And third, match temperature to your task. There's no universal best setting. Choose based on whether you prioritize consistency, creativity, or balance. Understanding temperature transforms AI from a mysterious black box into a controllable tool. You've just completed video 14 of Making AI Make Sense. We're building your understanding one concept at a time, turning complexity into clarity. Coming up next is tokens, why AI counts words weird, and why that matters for everything you do with AI. If you're finding the series valuable, subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. And if you need help applying these concepts to your business, that's exactly what we do at Eau Claire AI. Visit eauclaireai.com. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.